Okay, guys, so this is going to be part two of our Parents in the Toolbox lesson. And this is going to be kind of like a walk away talk, if that makes sense. Like, what do we walk away with from that situation that we just established? You know, that your parents only had so much in the toolbox and they used the ones they know that worked. But where do we go with that, right? How do we really reconcile that? And I would say that it is extremely unfair and unreasonable to ask someone to use a tool that they don't have. Okay? It is very unreasonable to ask a person to use a tool they don't have. If you say, well, the best way to get this job done is to have a specific, a specific wrench. Okay. I don't have that wrench. I don't know how to get that wrench. I didn't know that wrench even existed. And looking at the price tag, I definitely am not getting it. So what do you do in that situation? I mean, as the child, what do you do in that situation? If your parents didn't know that the tool existed in the first place, right? Like there was just no conception that the tool existed. I'm not saying it's your responsibility to be the parent in that situation, but your parent, they only had so much at that moment. And if they don't know the tool exists or they don't have the tool, it's very unreasonable to expect them to use it. That's for your benefit and for their benefit. It's not fair to anyone. It's not fair to you. It's not fair to them. And you could pull another example. You got a guy, maybe he's doing some work around your house, right? And he's, if you're asking him to do some like weird electrical something or the other, and he's like, "Hey, man, I don't have that tool. I'm not the best person equipped for that." So he already told you that he's not going to be able to do it. So don't expect him to do it. Now, parents probably don't want to admit that they can't do something. But if they don't have the tool, how can we expect them to use it? Seriously. It's very, very unreasonable and it's unfair. And you say, well, they still should have known better. And I would say, okay, so let me ask you this. If you truly follow that road of they should have known better, they should have done better, because believe me, I've felt that way too. Where do you think that's going to take you? And I mean you, the person listening to me. Where is that going to take you? It's going to take you to heartache. I'm just going to tell you that right now. At least that's where it took me. It took me to nothing but heartache and pain and misery. Because I was expecting them to do something that they didn't know existed or they weren't capable of doing. You don't have a blind person. You don't ask them, "Hey, what color is the sky right now?" or what color is the light? Is the light green, red, or yellow? It's like, buddy, I'm blind. I don't know. You're the one driving. Why are you asking me? So it's just a matter of when we say that when we say it's unreasonable and it's unfair, it truly is. If the person doesn't have the tool, we cannot expect them to use it. If you can barely hit a layup, let alone a three, and we say, oh, it's your job to hit the buzzer beater from half court, yeah, no, that's not a good idea. You're not setting him up for success. You're not setting the team up for success. You're not setting yourself up for success. Yes, things happen, and he might get lucky. Might get lucky is probably not the best option. It's probably better to find something that you know is going to work. All right. So I would just say that it is very unreasonable to ask a person to use a tool that they don't have, especially if they don't know it exists, especially if they can't get it, or if they don't have time to practice with it. It's not fair. It's not a reasonable expectation. And I'm not trying to excuse any sort of trauma or pain or poor decisions. It's not what I'm trying to say. I'm saying this for your benefit so that you can move on. I'm not asking you to turn a blind eye or turn another cheek. I mean, trauma is trauma, regardless of where or how it happens. I'm just trying to give you a little bit of context and perspective so that as you move through your journey of recovery, you might be able to process it and come to terms with it a little bit easier. Because you understand that they didn't have the tool. It's very unreasonable for them to. It's an unreasonable expectation for them to use the tool if they don't know it exists. It's just, I don't know how else to put it. And you, as the survivor, you just say, you know what? I would have handled it differently, but I wasn't in their position. But if I encounter a situation like this similar moving forward, I will try it a different way and see what happens. Maybe it'll work for you. Maybe it won't work for you. You don't know. But you do at least have more knowledge for the next situation that presents itself. That's worth something. At least to me, it's worth something. And I think that's kind of one of the main purposes of this whole situation is to say that we're more prepared for the next event. We're more prepared for the next conversation. And you will get your swing at bat. You will get your time to try it your way. And it may or may not work. Regardless, you've got to take those lessons and keep moving. There might even be a better solution that you're not aware of. All right? So you see an alternative for what your parents did. There might be an alternative for you, and you don't see it. And that's good because that means you can still discover it and you can still try it. You might be able to harness it too. All right, guys. So that takes care of this lesson here for our families of origin and their toolboxes. I hope this was beneficial, guys. I will see you for the next lesson. Bye.